Hi, I'm Nazca, and if you don't know me, I draw South Park Yaoi on the internet. Yes. Please, ladies, settle down. I know, I know! uh, Marjorine, or Margarine, is a popular headcanon from the South Park fandom, in which basically Butters, who we all know and love, is trans, male to female. I think it's a cute headcanon, but basically the main idea stems off from the episode itself. Margarine. While I was watching the episode, I found myself noticing something for the first time while watching this. You see, around the same time this episode came out, another character had become more relevant. Miss Garrison was an early example of Trey Parker and Matt Stone's misunderstanding of transgender people at the time, making Mr. Garrison's transition purely comedic and something to laugh at, because of how ridiculous they made it out to be. Trey and Matt seemed to notice the harmful opinion of their past and made another episode basically making up for it. But that didn't come without its hardships after. Genderqueer stuff is consistent in trying to understand it completely, but I contest. Marjorine is a part of Season 9's 9th episode, which is basically about the boys finding out about cootie catchers through a video Cartman recorded. They thought the cootie catchers were like real fortune tellers, and basic little kid thought process, Cartman wanted to take it away from the girls because of the fate of the world, and for the boys' own selfish reasons. But somebody had to go undercover, and who better than our gullible Butters, who would do anything the boys forced them to do. So, reasonably, they fake Butters' suicide with a dead pig, which makes Butters' parents go crazy, the usual, and the next day they cross-dress up Butters as a girl and name him Margarine, making Butters act like the new girl who just moved to town, so Butters could get him invited to the girls' slumber party. So, reasonable. So Cartman gets Margarine invited to the party so he can claim that fortune teller. Butters ends up at the party with his rather warped view of what girls do at slumber parties. He's tasked with trying to get the fortune teller, and he acts weird, which ends up in the girls getting pissed off at Butters and yelling at him. Butters ends up leaving and crying in the bathroom. The girls feel bad and went to apologize, offering to give him a little makeover before he came out of the room and forgave them. Shortly after, the scene cuts to Margarine having the time of his life. Cartman calls the phone claiming that he's Marjorine's mom and calls bullshit on Butters, and makes him finally get the fortune teller, exposing the boys and them all running off. Butters refusing to leave with the boys and just wanting to go home. There are more details to the episode that are probably not as important, so I'll stop the recap here. Within the same episode of Marjorine, there's also Miss Garrison, who, though the past seasons and leading up to this episode has been continuously bad representation of transness. But here's where irony comes in. Within the negatives and positives, despite selling a ridiculous view on transness with Mr. Garrison, at the same time we have Margarine experience all the dysphoria and euphoria for being in a safe space in the same episode. It is a strangely positive accidental representation if you look at it through the right lens. Though, of course, in the end, this is just one interpretation on the episode, and I'm definitely digging into subtext that wasn't there to begin with. I just thought it was funny how they had two different versions of outlining what could have been a good trans rep. Thanks for listening to my spiel.